After a serious car crash, I asked her to come get me from the emergency room. She texted back that she was sorry, but she was having lunch with her closest male friend and couldn't just walk out. I replied with a simple okay. What the police officer said to her when he walked up to their table in the restaurant turned her entire meal upside down. You discover who people really are when everything falls apart. I know this better than most because I'm a paramedic. Every shift, I witness people at their lowest point. I see how they behave, how they treat one another when the lights are flashing and lives are hanging by a thread. I've watched complete strangers comfort someone taking their last breath. I've seen husbands break down beside their injured wives. I've witnessed the finest moments of human kindness in the darkest situations. And then there was my girlfriend, Sarah, and one car accident that revealed exactly who she was. We'd been dating for 2 years. We shared my apartment, a place I'd worked hard to pay for. On the outside, everything looked solid. She was lively, stunning, and always the center of attention at any gathering. I was the steady, reserved type. I thought we balanced each other well. I brought the reliability. She brought the energy. The only real tension came from her male best friend, a guy named Ethan. Ethan came from family money and worked as some kind of advisor, which seemed to involve long lunches at upscale spots several days a week and giving opinions nobody asked for. Sarah and Ethan were practically joined at the hip. Their connection was, in her words, unique. They shared private jokes I was never included in, and their messages flew back and forth non-stop, always hidden from view. I'm not the jealous type by nature. My work has trained me to stay level-headed in chaos. But something about their closeness never sat right. It often felt like I was the outsider in their long-standing duo. Still, I trusted her. I chose to accept her assurances that they were purely platonic. That trust was destroyed completely and irreversibly one Tuesday afternoon. I was driving home after a grueling shift. Rain was pouring down. A young driver in a modified Honda blew through a red light and slammed into my driver's side. The collision was violent. Everything became a whirlwind of screeching tires, breaking glass, and the awful sound of metal crumpling around me. The next clear memory I have is my own crew, my fellow paramedics, extracting me from the wreck. I was immobilized on a spine board, my head throbbing, and my left arm clearly fractured. As they lifted me into the ambulance, a police officer I knew well, a solid guy named Mark, leaned close. "Hey buddy," he said, looking serious. "Your car's done for. We're getting it towed. We need to notify your emergency contact about the crash and where the vehicle will be stored. Who should we reach out to?" "My girlfriend, Sarah," I told him through the pain. I gave him her phone number. The ambulance ride to the hospital passed in a fog. They cut away my uniform, gave me strong pain medication, and began all the scans. Imaging showed what I already suspected: a clean fracture in my left humerus and a moderate concussion. No major internal damage, thankfully. I was battered and covered in bruises, but I would recover. About an hour later, a nurse returned. "We've tried reaching your emergency contact, Sarah, several times," she said. "She hasn't picked up. Is there anyone else we should call?" My stomach dropped. No answer? I knew precisely why. It was Tuesday. Tuesday was her regular extended lunch date with Ethan. I grabbed my phone with my good hand. The screen was cracked but functional. I typed a message. "Hey, I was just in a major car accident. I'm in the ER at St. Mary's. Left arm is broken. Car is totaled. Can you come pick me up?" I waited. Soon the typing bubbles appeared. Then her response arrived. A message that would alter my future forever. "Sarah. Oh my God. That's terrible. I'm really sorry. But I'm right in the middle of an important lunch with Ethan that I can't just get up and leave. Maybe take an Uber? Keep me posted. I read it once, then again. A strange, sharp calm settled over me, overriding the medication haze. She wasn't merely brushing me off. She was placing a casual meal with another man above my actual medical emergency. I was sitting in a hospital bed, and she didn't want to miss her entree. The last foundation of our relationship collapsed in that moment. I remembered Officer Mark. I remembered they still needed to officially notify her. And an idea took shape. A calculated, fitting, and perfectly timed idea. I screenshotted her message. Then I texted back one word. Okay. Next, I called Officer Mark. Hey Mark, I said, keeping my voice even. It's Adam Sterling. Thanks for everything at the scene. Listen, I know your team has been trying to contact my emergency contact, Sarah. She's not answering calls, but I know exactly where she is. It's important you reach her to finish the paperwork. She's at a restaurant downtown called the Silver Fork. I believe an in-person notification is necessary to properly inform her. Mark, being both a dedicated officer and a friend, caught on instantly. Got it, Adam, he replied, a new tone in his voice. We'll send someone over right away. You just concentrate on healing. I ended the call. I settled back against the hospital pillows. Sarah was enjoying her very important lunch. I had a strong feeling it was about to be disrupted. Update 1: the hour I spent waiting in that ER bed was among the most revealing of my life. The physical discomfort remained, a steady ache in my arm and skull, but the emotional sting had transformed into a cold determination. The betrayal was so complete that it bypassed the usual stages of grief. All that remained was focused resolve and the drive to act. My coworker and friend, Chris, who'd been on the rig that brought me in, stopped by to check on me. He read my expression immediately and knew something deeper was wrong. What's going on, man? You look ready to settle a score. I showed him Sarah's text. He read it and his jaw tightened. No way, he muttered. She picked lunch with that Ethan guy over this? Exactly, I said. So what's your move? He asked. I already made it, I replied. I had the police send a unit to the restaurant for an official in-person notification. Chris paused, then gave a slow nod of approval. That's cold and genius. The full account of what happened at the Silver Fork reached me later through Officer Mark, who got it straight from the 2 patrol officers he dispatched. It unfolded even better than I'd pictured. The Silver Fork is one of those venues obsessed with image. It's pricey, fashionable, and packed with people who love being noticed. Sarah and Ethan had a coveted window table, sharing laughs and an expensive bottle of white wine. 2 uniformed officers entered the dining room. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Police don't casually visit places like that. Conversations hushed, heads turned. The officers moved steadily through the room, scanning tables. They stopped right at Sarah and Ethan's spot. The taller officer, a no-nonsense type, addressed Sarah directly. Ma'am, are you Sarah Miller? His voice was professional but carried far enough for nearby tables to hear. Yes, she answered, looking puzzled and irritated. Is something wrong, officer? We're here regarding a serious motor vehicle collision involving your partner, Mr. Adam Sterling, the officer continued evenly. He was transported by ambulance from the scene to St. Mary's Hospital with substantial injuries. Sarah went pale. Ethan froze, his glass halfway to his mouth. The officer went on without pause. His vehicle was declared a total loss. We have attempted to contact you multiple times over the past 2 hours, as you are listed as his primary emergency contact. Mr. Sterling advised us we could locate you here and requested official in-person notification. You will also need to coordinate with the towing service for retrieval of any personal items from the vehicle. Each statement landed like a blow. Serious collision, ambulance transport, substantial injuries, total loss, emergency contact. The officer wasn't judging, he was simply delivering official facts. But those facts painted an unmistakable picture for everyone listening. A man lay injured in the hospital, and his girlfriend, his listed emergency contact, was enjoying a relaxed meal with another man, completely out of reach. Ethan, from what I heard, looked at Sarah differently after that. The easygoing lunch partner vanished, replaced by someone seeing her true priorities for the first time. The officer wrapped up. That concludes the notification. Ma'am. We recommend you proceed to the hospital. The officers then turned and exited as calmly as they'd arrived, leaving stunned silence, untouched plates, and one woman whose indifference had just been laid bare in public. Her crucial lunch was officially finished. Update 2: the fallout unfolded in a whirlwind I watched from the quiet safety of my hospital room. After discharge, with my arm in a sling and prescriptions in hand, my sister arrived to take me home. She had always been my true backup contact, and I'd called her once the police plan was set. Her anger when I explained Sarah's response could have lit up the grid. She brought me to her house to recuperate. I had zero desire to return to my apartment until every trace of Sarah was gone. Sarah, predictably, began flooding my phone with messages and calls. Adam, I'm heading to the hospital now. I'm so sorry, my phone was on silent. An obvious, weak excuse. Where are you? They told me you were released. Why won't you answer? I'm losing it. This is your fault. You deliberately sent police to embarrass me. The shift from fake worry to outright blame was rapid and revealing. I didn't respond to any of it. I simply blocked her number. The real details of her afternoon came from an unexpected source. Ethan. He apparently wanted no part of her mess. That same evening, he messaged me on social media. Hey Adam, it began that I don't know you well, but I was with Sarah at lunch today. I had no clue about your accident. As soon as the officers left, I paid for my share and walked out. Her reaction to something that's serious isn't the kind of person I want around. Sorry if I contributed to any problems in your relationship. I'm cutting contact with her. Wish you a quick recovery. It was partly self-protective, sure, meant to clear his own name. But it confirmed the deeper impact. I hadn't only embarrassed her publicly. I'd shown her real character to the exact person she cared about impressing. She lost her boyfriend and her closest friend in one afternoon. With my sister's help, the rest of the plan moved forward smoothly. While I rested, she handled everything. She booked a moving service that handles post-breakup relocations. They met the crew at my apartment the next day and packed every item belonging to Sarah. Clothes, shoes, books, everything into boxes. The boxes were left stacked neatly in the living room. Then she arranged for a locksmith to change all the locks. Finally, she sent Sarah a formal email from a new address. Subject: Retrieval of personal belongings. The message read, Sarah, this email serves to notify you that your relationship with Adam Sterling has ended. As you are not on the lease for his residence, your permission to reside there is also revoked. All your personal possessions have been boxed and are ready for collection. You have a 48-hour period to arrange professional removal. Please contact me, Adam's sister, at this email to schedule a precise 2-hour window. You will be granted supervised access solely to remove your items. You will not be allowed to linger afterward. Failure to collect within 48 hours will result in the items being deemed abandoned and discarded. Any direct attempts to contact Adam will be treated as harassment. It was formal. It was airtight. And it was irreversible. She had treated me like an afterthought in my hour of need. I was now handling her departure with the same detached efficiency. Final update: 7 months have passed since the crash. My arm is fully healed. The concussion symptoms are long gone, and my days are peacefully calm. Sarah followed instructions and arranged pickup through my sister. From the report, she arrived with her dad, looking subdued and quiet. She spoke barely a word, just directed the movers her father hired, loaded her boxes, and left the spare key on the counter. The social consequences for her were severe, from what I've heard. The tale of police interrupting her lunch at the Silver Fork spread like wildfire in her circle. It was a story impossible to spin positively. She became known as the woman who chose a meal over her injured boyfriend in the ER. Her efforts to portray me as controlling fell flat against the undeniable facts. She lost most of her friends, not out of loyalty to me, but because they didn't want the association. About a month ago, she tried contacting me again with a lengthy email full of justifications and half apologies. She claimed she'd panicked. She said she wasn't thinking straight. She blamed Ethan's influence. It was textbook deflection. She ended by saying she missed our stable life together and that the experience had taught her a lot. I didn't respond. I just set up an email rule to route anything from her straight to trash. Her growth wasn't my responsibility. The satisfaction didn't come from the public scene at the restaurant. That was only the opening act. The real closure came from the clean, decisive way I removed her from my world. She had treated me as a minor inconvenience in her vibrant life, so I removed her from mine entirely. I reclaimed the home and stability I'd built, the things she'd taken for granted, and made them fully my own again. The deepest reward is knowing I saw the truth clearly and acted without second-guessing. A relationship is a true partnership, and the core of partnership is being there when it matters most. She didn't just fail that test. She dismissed it entirely and carried on as if it didn't exist. The shock on her face when the officer approached her table was merely the beginning. The empty apartment, the unanswered messages, the life she forfeited. Those were the lasting consequences. In the end, I was the one who got healthy. I removed the real injury from my life, and that injury had been her.